Morning everybody, it's Phil Beckwith, the professional painter and decorator, back once again with a really interesting video that you're going to be blown away with. So before we start, let's do a thumbs up, comments, smash the like, whatever, let's get on with it. Right, today we've got something a little bit different. You know, I do quite a bit of spraying. It's in inside people's houses, just doing the usual stuff. Well, today we're doing some Ilumitex by Pittaway flake spraying. Now this is a little bit specialist. We're probably going one up from your ordinary painter and decorator and sprayer. This is something that gives you a specialist wall finish. The basic idea of it is you're spraying on dry flake paint. Now the dry flake paint comes in a bag. The actual kit has everything in it. The kit, let's focus you. The kit does about 25 square meters. Now what you get in the kit is the dry flake. You get an adhesive base coat. This is a specialist base coat. And then you get a top coat for varnishing it. Right, we'll come on to that in a moment. So what we do, we get the flake, we put it into a special gun, and that gets sprayed, stroke blown onto the surface. Now the surface that you've got is obviously your sticky adhesive base coat. So let's talk you through the principles of what we're doing. If you look over my shoulder, today I'm just doing a sample wall for the customer. They just want one wall doing, because what they want to do is see the colour of the actual flake against some carpet tile samples. So we've already prepped Brian, who works for us, who's been with us since 1966. He's already prepped these walls for me a couple of weeks ago. You need a decent emulsion on it, so obviously we use decent paint. We've got Optiva 5 as the base colour base coat for this Ilumitex. Now you don't want anything too dry. You want something that's not going to take your porosity of your adhesive base coat that's going on. So Brian's put Optiva 5 on the walls. Obviously all the paints are available. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to do about a metre square at a time. You're going to apply the base coat, you're going to put that onto the surface, and then when you've done a metre square area, nothing too big, you're going to spray using this special canister that holds flake onto the surface. You'll work in a square area at a time, but obviously you'll put a square metre coating on, but when you spray, don't go all the way to the edge. Keep a fraction away, because when you do your next square metre coming across the wall, you'll join up to that. You'll get the idea when you see a demonstration video. So getting back to the product, what this is actually a dry flake of paint. Now I've been quite lucky. I've been up to the factory in Hull in the UK to see how it's produced. Now the principle of it is they've got paint going through rollers, very fine, very thin. It goes through dryers, it comes off the end in sheets of dry paint, then gets broken up, and what you end up with is, see, dry flake of paint. You can see that. And this is what goes onto the surface. Now the colour we've got is a blue with a white. There's various colours. There's glitters, there's reds, there's greens, you name it. Pittaway, Ilumitex, probably do a colour that suits you. Now, what we're going to be doing is filling up a canister. Fill it up to the top. Now I've got two canisters. I've got custom canisters that are wrapped in carbon fibre. How exciting is that? You fill up two canisters, one's obviously spare. You'll use one canister at a time. When that's run out, you'll swap across to the next one, and obviously you'll probably have somebody with you that fills up your canister to keep you going. So what you do, you fill up that, you connect it to your compressor. Now the compressor I've got is from SprayMan. It's a 24 litre conventional sprayer compressor. You can hear it's all primed up, ready to go. roughly about 50 psi. You might find you want to increase it slightly depending on how it's coming out the gun. Now the specialist gun is from Ilumitex, so don't ask me where you get it from. It's from Ilumitex. It's something you have to buy as a specialist product, and I get it from Ilumitex. Now this connects to your ordinary fast fit connection on your hose, clips on, it's on, and it's just putting air through. The specialist gun's got a regulator on top. That's the adjuster for the air that goes in to the pot, because obviously that starts to pressurise, moves the flake around and then sprays it out the end. Now that's quite a big bore hole. I've even got some adapters that if you've got sealings to do, you put that on the end and it comes up, so you get the idea of that. So I think we're about there for that explanation at the moment. What I'm doing, putting that on as a base, which is like an adhesive paint. It's like a glue. I'm not going to say it is a glue, but it's like a glue. That goes onto the surface. I'm going to spray the flake onto the surface. Now your technique of spraying the flake onto the surface, keep it to motion, a circular motion all the way around, get it all over the surface. You need to obliterate your base coat. Literally, you can't put too much on. Keep it circulating round, blast it onto the surface, keep about a usual foot away. You'll get the feel for it when you're doing it. Keep it about a foot away, blast it onto the surface. That sticks to the adhesive base coat. Once you've done that metre square area, move on to your next section. So if you look in here on this wall, I'll start at the top and work my way along and dropping down at the same time. So this, it might take probably no more than an hour to do a wall. Now once you've done it, it's drying times, probably give it next day before it's dry. Once it's dry, you'll get a stiff little hand brush, brush it down, knock any of the loose flake off, because the loose flake that's not stuck to the surface will drop to the floor. Again, when you're applying this, it's bouncing off the surface and dropping to the floor. Once it's dropped to the floor, you can gather it up, put it into a separate bag, and you can use that at a later date. Obviously be careful not to pick up any bits, because you don't want to be putting bits onto the surface. Always work from a fresh bag of flake, and obviously use the old flake when you need to do places that you're not going to be seeing. So use that in there, on there, simple as that. But once we've knocked it all off, once it's all dry, the next day, then you can varnish glaze it, and you put 2 coats of that on. So for now, I'll stop. I'll come back, show you me applying the base coat, and then show you applying the actual spray. Back once again with you. I'm just going to show you my sprayer that we've got. Can you see? It's one of these. You've probably seen them before. SprayMan. It's a compressor unit, 24 litres. It's quite a good bit of kit. These are about 600 odd pounds. We only use this for the spray flake. We don't use it for any of the ordinary painting. We keep it clean. This is just dedicated for us, just when we're doing feature walls, rooms out, using obviously the Ilumitex product. Now what's good about this is it pressurises the tank at the bottom. You can see it there, it gives you the pressure gauge there, and then it also gives you the gauge for what the pressure is coming out to the gun. Now I said we use about 50-60 psi. I'm actually running 80 psi on that. I'll see how it goes, and then if it needs to just be turned down slightly, I can turn it down, but this was probably set from the last time that he used it, which means that it's probably about right for what I'm spraying with that weight of flake. Don't forget, some flake might be actually very fine and lighter. You don't need so much pressure to blow it through, because it'll blow everywhere. But on the whole, this is a good bit of kit for £600-700 pounds. It's good value for money. And again, it's only this is a 240 plug-in, so when you're in somebody's private house, you're not having to take transformers around. But no, great bit of kit and ideal for the Ilumitex. I'll just come back and show you the wall we're doing. It's all the way across there. It's quite simple. I'll just do you a close-up of what the pots are, because I explained it before, but probably not well enough. The pots, fill these up, fill it up with the bag stuff there, what you do, put it into the bag, fill it up like that, all the way up to the top, have 2 of them on the go, so you've got a spare, you've got 2 on the go, connect it to your gun, and away you go. Now this adhesive, it's virtually white, put a generous coating onto the surface, cut in, generous coating, and then you spray onto that. I've got a pair of steps so it can work there. I put a little bit of a tape edge all the way around the fittings. That's mainly because when the flake bounces off the wall, if it's got a bit of the adhesive on it, it can sometimes stick to the top edge of your skirting. Now that's not a problem if you want to go around just scraping it off and cleaning it down after you've done the job, but if forewarned is forearmed, if I'm already aware that that's what could happen, if I put a bit of tape across the bottom, like I've done there, and around the sockets, you peel it off, it's not going to damage the skirting with the flake dropping on it and you cleaning it down and then having to touch up. So are we good with that so far? Any questions, comments below? Get rid of that. Comments below, thumbs up again. Yeah, this is something a little bit different. It's probably not what everybody would be doing, but it is showing you something that you can do if you want to get into this sort of painting and decorating. A flake wall finish that is, I must say, it's spectacular. Ideal in utilities, communal passageways, corridors, toilet blocks at football stadiums. You've probably seen it previously, years gone by. We used to do a lot of the PortaFlek, which was a similar principle, but it was a paint that was being splattered onto the surface. This isn't a paint being splattered onto the surface as a liquid paint. This is a dry flake that's being sprayed in dry form onto a wet surface. Once dry, brush it off, get any loose off, and then you go over it with the glaze. So I'll explain that again, go over it a few times so you understand what we do. So bye bye for now. A bit of health and safety. This isn't a fumey paint, so actually there's no need for a respirator mask like we've had before for the fumes coming off the paint. It might be an idea to get some goggles because the flake can bounce into your eyes. If you are using a mask, you might just want a basic dust mask. Cover your mouth like this. That's what I'm going to use just to stop anything breathing up my nose. But it's not a paint that's giving off a toxic gas. There's no vapour in the air or anything like that. It's more of a case that you can see it's a bit of a solid product that could be breathed up into your nose. So I've just got my bandana, I'm just going to cover my face like that. Obviously I didn't want to put my big face mask on because if I'm talking to you, you're not going to hear me. So yeah, that's the health and safety side of this. Just be sensible, like with everything. Stay safe. Focus in, what we're doing. The old boy's cutting in for me. There you go. It's Doug Beckwith, set the business up in 1965. Still going strong. Still willing to learn new techniques and new products. So this is where we are. Right, he's cutting in for me. I've just put a tape edge down the side because, as I said earlier, this is just a sample wall for the customer. So we will be coming back to do the rest of the walls, but we don't want to do a double overlap of the textured finish onto a wall that we're not coming to do just at the moment in time. So what Doug's doing is cutting in around the edges. I'm going to pick up the roller, which I've got down there. I've got quite a decent pile roller. You can just see down there. You've got to put plenty on the surface. Put plenty on the surface because you don't want it drying too quick. And that's one of the reasons that we've used Optiva 5 actually onto the walls, because it's obviously that doesn't take the suction and porosity out of the paint that we're the moisture out of the paint with the surface. So that's going to sit nicely on there. Doug's not going to go much further than this for this square area now, because we've just got to make sure we've got enough overlap area that when I do my metre square, there's still some edges that don't get any flake on, because when I do the square next to the square that I've just done, we can go on to that and not disturb the flake. So there we go, look, we've done a square, and I'm going to now get the roller going. we're going to get the roller going, and then I'll start spraying and you can see what it's like. So this is live action. You can see I'm putting plenty on. When you're rolling, start with the middle and work your way up, putting your pressure on to move the paint all the way up to the top. And then as you get to the top, just lay it off slightly with not so much pressure so you get an even surface coverage. There we go. I've gone quite close to the edges so we get an even finish. There we go, that's all on. Canister's full of stuff. I'll just put my bandana on, put my goggles on, and what we're going to do, we're going to blow it, circular motion to get it all the way over. There will be bounce back because the stuff that doesn't stick to the wall goes on the floor. That's what you'd accept. Back with you, you can see what I was doing there. I was doing a circular motion, shaking up the canister to keep it agitated. Now I don't know if you can see this, I've literally obliterated, see if I can focus in on that, I've literally obliterated the wall so I can't get any more product onto that adhesive surface. Now you can see where I said about keeping a band that you don't spray. That's quite acceptable to get a bit of bounce back onto it, because what we'll do, we'll cut in, because you can see what Doug's doing there, we're cutting in, I'll roll onto that, that's still a wet surface to join up to. Now the beauty of this product is, I could damage that, touch it in with the adhesive and respray it and you wouldn't notice it. I'm not going to do it, other than just put my finger across it like that. Because the adhesive's got the pigment in for the colour, that will go back over that, and then once I go with the sprayer, with the flake, that covers that back in again, and it's a texture. Can you see it? And you actually don't see any of the base through it because the flake covers everything that's sticky. So, do we get the idea? Are we liking it? I'm liking it. I'll stop there now, we'll carry on with this and I'll come back to you when we've finished and show you a completed wall. So, good. Oh, I've just touched my face. Look at this, I've got flake on my mouth now. You've just seen me there finishing off the last part of the wall. Oh, the camera's still because I'm holding it freehand. We've probably been, to do that, two of us, one cutting in and me spraying it with the flake, no more than about 20-25 minutes. Now you've probably seen me on that last little bit. I just checked over the wall. I'll focus in on the wall. I just checked over the wall just to make sure there was no bits that had missed, stood back and just go over it. What I was saying to you earlier is you can obliterate the surface, just keep going over it until it won't take any more, because the idea is you want the flake onto the adhesive that's sticking to the wall. Now you'll cast across there and that's a nice even coverage. If you see anywhere that you think, oh, there's not enough blue on it, you can go back to it. Same with any of the colours, you can go back to it. But I think if you actually look close to an area that doesn't look so blue, you'll see that it's got the lighter colour flake on it. So you've obliterated the surface with the other colour as well, which is good. That's why it's a uniformed, random, if that makes sense, bit of an oxymoron finish. Focusing. Go to the other side of the room. You can see the wall. Oh, the lights casting shadows from the window. But that wall's finished in 20 minutes. Bit of a specialist product, don't you think? Again, we're doing something different. It's not boring, is it, being a painter and decorator? Not when you start doing this sort of stuff. So let's wind up on this. Let's just go through what we're doing. We're putting a base on, which we used Optiva 5 to even out the surface. Then we use the Ilumitex base adhesive, which is a white colour, so that goes over. That's what your flake sticks to. And it's stuck to there, lovely. Let's focus it. Right, we've gone over the wall with that specialist. I've disconnected it all now. Specialist gun that holds the flake. It's a flock gun, really, it's a flock gun. It's a posh flock gun. That goes over the surface. We've obliterated the surface, we've got it all over it. We'll let that dry till tomorrow, then we come with a stiff little hand brush, knock off any bits that are still loose. They drop to the floor, you sweep them up, bin those, and then once you've dusted off the surface and got any loose off, and then we apply 2 coats of the gloss water-based varnish, which comes in the kit. You get a 2.5 litre can of top coat varnish. You can either have satin, there's various different finishes you can go for and what you pay for, so that's up to you. Going back to the kit comes in a box. These kits, let's bring it back, these kits, anything from about £120 a kit. Don't forget you've got to allow for that in your costings when you're doing something like that. That kit does 25 square metres. We've obviously not used the full kit. We've still got best part of just over half a bag left, so we can use that again. But I think if you were doing it for the customer for feature wall, you'd probably charge for the kit, wouldn't you? Charge for the kit and the time taken. Well, I'm going to charge just for the time taken, 2 of us, 25 minutes, call it an hour, 2 hours worth of work for that. What we're on, £10 an hour, 20 quid? You're not going to do that, are you? You're going to price for the job done, not the time taken. So think of that when you start doing your quoting and your pricing for something like this. What have we done? We've done preparation, we've put the adhesive grip coat on, we put the Flake on, and then we're going to be coming back tomorrow to knock it off and prepare it ready for the gloss coat. So a bit of work involved, but nothing too strenuous. It's not like stripping wallpaper and wood chip off like I was saying on other videos. It's a nice finish to do. It's a nice product to work with. We've got all the gear. We're not quite all the gear, no idea, because we have got an idea. We've got the gear. That's give them a bit of a plug. That's from SprayManUk. 24 litre tank there. You can get away with less. I think they do a 9 litre tank, but for what we're using, we didn't want it running out of breath. That doesn't run out of breath. You can hear it kicking in when we're working with it. It always keeps us at constant pressure. That's a good bit of kit. So yeah, are we all happy with that? Comments down below. smash the like button, as my kids say, and let's have some comments on this. Something a bit different for you. I'm just looking, I've done 5 minutes worth of rabbiting on, but I think you get the idea. Again, if there's any questions, ask. I'll give a link to Roger Pittaway at Ilumitex, Ilumitex for the product if you want some more information on that. It's great stuff, it's a great product. Check the website out because they've got loads of different finishes. Comes with an instruction sheet telling you how to do it. It's no different than what I've just explained. Explaining about the gun, agitating the gun around, moving the flake actually in the pot so it's not sitting. It's all there for you. If you can bake a cake by reading instructions, there's no reason why you can't be doing this as well. If you've got the spray equipment, this is just the next step up that you might want to do a different sort of spray finish, and it's all there. So for now, let's give a thumbs up. You can just see what I've done there, and we're calling it a day. I don't need to do any photos of it gloss varnish because you won't be able to see it, but yeah, this is what we do every so often. This customer's had loads of it done before, so we've just come back doing another house that he's bought, that he's having it in one of the rooms there. So thumbs up, thanks for watching, thanks for the support. I appreciate all the questions that you send me. Happy to help. If I don't know, I'll find out for you, but yeah, keep the comments coming because I do like it. Thanks a lot. Bye.